Qantas flight QF152 from Auckland to Melbourne on Thursday the 5th of May 2022 on a Boeing 737-800 scheduled to depart at 6 a.m, flight time of 4 hours and 15 minutes.
Good. Yep. Lovely. Thanks. See you, bye.
This is my first trip outside New Zealand since 2019, and to say I'm excited, well, that's an understatement. The original itinerary suggested I get to the airport 2 hours before my flight. When Checkin opened, Qantas sent me a text message suggesting I get to the airport 3 hours before my flight. According to the Auckland Airport website, international departures open at 4:30 a.m. That's 90 minutes before my flight. Well, that's a conundrum. I'd like to get a little bit of sleep, but I don't want to miss my plane. My hotel was about 15 minutes walk from the international terminal, so I set an alarm for 3:15 a.m. with a backup at 3:30, and I got to the airport about 4. A week before my flight, Qantas sent me a text message to make sure I'd met all my travel requirements. And the day before, they reminded me that if I needed testing, the time to do it was now. I didn't need to be tested to go to Australia, but I did need to be tested to come back to New Zealand. So I had a supervised rat test before I left, just to be sure. And I was negative. Nice! I did have to fill in a digital passenger declaration to get into Australia, so I downloaded the app and it was really straightforward. It even magically scanned in my passport data. And I was a little bit excited that the information they asked for would mean that I didn't have to fill in an arrivals card. Sadly, that's not a true story. When Checkin opened, the Qantas app prompted me to check in using it. So I did. The first step was the increasingly common health declaration. Interestingly, it explicitly mentions the need to have a negative test suitable for international travel. I don't know if this is an additional Qantas requirement or if this part of the check-in simply hasn't kept up with changes to the law. Either way, no actual humans asked to see my negative test results. Then I confirmed I'm me, and I'm not carrying anything dangerous, and I pushed check-in. It immediately dropped me back into the app, which seemed suspiciously fast. And when I navigated through to my flight details, it said I wasn't checked in, which freaked me out a little bit, but I figured I'd sort it out when I got to the terminal. A few minutes later, the message changed to say I was checked in, but I still needed to see someone at the airport. Three years since I've been in international departures. I'd be lying if I didn't say I was just a little bit excited. There's not a lot of people around, but, you know, it's 4 a.m. I checked the board, and there's my flight, right at the top, first one out of the day. As I get close to the check-in counters, it seems clear that everybody is having to talk to somebody. The line moves pretty quickly, and in a few minutes, I'm talking to a person.
Good morning. How you going? Oh, yeah, passport first? Yeah. Right, okay.
Okay, so holding a 515, gate number 9.
Yeah, awesome.
Okay?
Thank you so much. Thank you. Bye-bye. Excuse me.
Well, that was relatively painless. I head upstairs to go through departures and possibly find myself a little something to eat. But when I get upstairs, I realise that departures is closed. And all of the shops and food outlets on this side of security are also closed. So I wait. And at 4:45 a.m, we're in business. Feels like a bit of a surge of people, but it's not actually that many. There's always a few of those business class boomers who just have to be at the front. Here's one. We scan our boarding passes to go through to passport control, through the e-gates and onto security. Of course I was randomly selected for the body scanner and my bag required a manual check, but it was all pretty quick and efficient. After filling my water bottle, I braved duty-free. But duty-free was closed, as was every other shop. The only real sign of life was this guy. Oh, keep up the good work. I'd been planning to eat at some point before boarding, but with everything being closed, I wasn't sure what to do. But then out of the corner of my eye, I noticed a vending machine, and a random stranger helped me navigate the 4 a.m. brain fog.
Press button to start.
Yeah, decide. I think you decide which one you want.
Oh, there we go. Oh, that's
Here's
suddenly...
the number
Oh, I
right
see.
there.
It took a moment to warm up.
Yeah.
Got it. I think salt and vinegar crisps is a good breakfast. Right. No, I'm done. Right. Oh, yeah, thank you.
Alright, salt and vinegar crisps for breakfast. Yum yum. So after a quick stop to check out a plane, there was just a little bit of a walk down to gate 9.
Hello everyone, Qantas flight QF152 to Melbourne is now ready for premium boarding. Please have your boarding pass and passport out. Open to the photo place for inspection by our boarding staff. General boarding will commence shortly by seat number. Please check your seat number and confirm when your number is called.
My lucky day. Oh, sorry. Thank you so much. Thanks. See you, bye.
They boarded the plane from the back to the front, so it was a little bit congested by the time I got there, but it did mean I had a couple of minutes to have a chat to one of the flight crew.
Yeah, I'm worrying for everyone.
Yeah, just waking up, like myself.
Go over and straight back.
Yeah, we're going to Melbourne and straight back here.
Yeah.
1 hour going around.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Pretty intense, yeah. Fenders on as far as I can, and then come back. Touch is nice.
Oh,
Well, I bring to actually go earlier, maybe I'll find.
oh, wow. You never know.
Yeah.
Always living
Yeah,
home.
we do.
Always living home. Yeah, yeah.
So we got a good crew, so.
Oh, that's what does it.
That does it, yeah.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's a pleasure to welcome on board this Qantas flight 152 shortly bound for Melbourne. Pretty much all set to go. Just once everyone is seated in, we'll be able to close all doors, and will be just a short taxi for us this morning, taking off to the east. Series of right-hand turns climbing to 34,000 feet. Flight time 3 hours and 35 minutes at this stage. On the plan has shown us arriving just slightly ahead of our schedule of 8:15 local time into Melbourne. I'll get back to you closer to Melbourne with an update. For now, I invite you to sit back, relax, enjoy the flight service from Alpha and his great team in the cabin. So pleasure having you on board. Enjoy the flight. Thank you. Appreciate your attention during our safety briefing this morning. Everyone is required to wear a face mask on this flight, and the mask must cover your nose, mouth and chin.
Before you get underway, make sure all your bags are in the overhead.
Take a moment to locate your exit as the cabin crew point them out.
Due to a series of compounding blunders, I only have this one usable piece of takeoff footage. Oh no! Don't panic though, I do have in-flight and landing footage. We pushed back 4 minutes late at 6:04 AM. We taxied for 13 minutes and took off at 6:17 AM. We taxied from Gate 9 of the International Terminal over to runway 05R, and we took off to the east. After takeoff, we did 2 right-hand turns and then to the west over the Tasman towards Australia. About an hour after takeoff, we were served breakfast. There was choice of scrambled eggs, sausage and bacon, or a frittata. I went with the scrambled eggs. Let's go! So there were scrambled eggs, a rasher of bacon, 2 small toaster hash browns, and a wee sausage. Most notable was the absence of a bun. No bun. Isn't there always a bun? No one seems to get eggs on a plane, right? They're always quite awful. And this breakfast did not disappoint. It was also quite awful. The scrambled eggs had a consistency similar to rice pudding. Slightly lumpy bits with some soft bits around it and sort of warm. The bacon was pretty tough, the hash browns were a little bit rubbery, but the sausage, it was actually pretty good. I have to say, despite the fact it wasn't great, I have missed airplane breakfasts. Does that make me weird? Nothing I didn't already know. I mean, it was edible, but just wasn't great. And there was no bun. I'm gonna give this breakfast 5 out of 10. Ouch. Wow. I could see a few different juices on the trolley, as well as still and sparkling water. I'm sure if I'd asked, they'd have been able to find me some soft drinks as well. But I had an orange juice. Good selection, good service, good juice, 7 out of 10. For the hot beverage, I went with a coffee. It was my first coffee of the day. I have my coffee white and I got to make it exactly how I like it. Perfect. Coffee was hot, the flavour was okay, not much kick. I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. Okay coffee. So the meal, disappointing eggs, tough bacon, rubbery hash browns, good sausage without a bun, got a 5. Cold beverage, good selection, I got a juice, got 7. And the okay coffee got a 6. That's an average of 6 out of 10. Okay, breakfast Qantas. I was actually still a little bit peckish, so I ate my pre-flight crisps to fill me up. Lucky I had them. This plane, VH-VZZ, is a Qantas Boeing 737-800. It took its first flight in April 2012, making it just on 10 years old when I took this flight, and Qantas have been flying it since it was brand new. It's configured with 12 business class and 162 economy class seats. Its original configuration had 156 economy class seats. The additional 6 seats, or 1 row, were added in May 2016. I was seated in seat 9A, which must be the worst window seat in the world because it has no window. Oh my goodness. How did this happen? I'm usually quite pernickety about my seat choices. I was originally booked to fly Auckland, Sydney earlier in the week and then down to Melbourne from there. But a late change to my work schedule meant I had to stay in New Zealand a little bit longer and fly direct from Auckland to Melbourne. I always ask our travel agents for window seats, and in this instance 9A is the seat they came back with. And I failed to double check and see if it was pants. But it is pants. I mean, it has no window. I casually asked the agent how they'd missed it. They said that the Qantas system used to alert them to windowless window seats, but it stopped doing that and no one told them. That sounds like a downgrade in service level Qantas. Disappointing. I felt like such a noob, but this is a total reminder. Always check out your seat. Make sure it's not pants. I did ask the flight crew if I could switch seats, but they said we were totally full, and unfortunately that couldn't happen. I figured out after takeoff that I could slide my phone down the side of my seat and shoot footage out the window behind me. Catastrophe averted. Felt a little bit intrusive on their window, but they didn't say anything. No one said anything. It's okay, right? But why isn't there a window? The air that gets circulated around the cabin comes out overhead and goes in under the floor. And underneath the floor, between the wings, there's an air mixing unit. The ducts that carry the air from that unit up into the ceiling space have to go up through the wall somewhere. In the 737 from the 300 series onwards, those ducts are bundled. And where those bundles pass up through the wall of the aircraft, there's no space for a window. In other aircraft, such as the ATR 72, those bundles are split up into smaller bundles that pass up between the windows. In the aircraft I was on, there were 2 missing windows on my side. The ducts near the front fed the forward part of the cabin. The ducts passing up at the rear feed the aft. When airlines are thinking about their configurations and layouts, they're not thinking about windows. Every commercial 737 has a lavatory and galley up front, and 2 or 3 lavatories and a galley at the rear. The space allocated for those components is basically the same, as they're manufactured as standalone components and slide into that space. They are designed that way because it's more cost effective to run plumbing, electrical and stuff to the same place every single time. With the forward and aft bulkheads now established, there's one big rectangle of space to be filled in. Once the operator has chosen the seat style, shape, size and all that sort of stuff, they place their exit rows. There are specific requirements for these rows because they have to allow access to the exits. The once big rectangle is now 2 smaller rectangles. After that, it's just math. The maths is all worked out by a computer. For 12 business seats and 162 economy seats, you'll end up with 3 rows of 4 business and 27 rows of 6 economy. That all gets put in the computer and the spacings are delivered, and the seats are installed where the computer said. The computer doesn't care about windows because windows don't make money, seats make money. And the seats will be installed exactly where the computer said, regardless of where the windows are. Thanks, computer. And the distance between the rows of seats, or the seat pitch, and the standard economy seats on this plane was 30 inches, or 76 centimetres. I'm 180 centimetres tall, and that was a bit tight. Especially for 4 hours with 180 other humans who were trying really hard not to breathe. Having said that, the seats themselves were comfy enough. The overhead bins have plenty of space for a full-size carry-on. You can get a small backpack or handbag under the seat in front, and there's a little seat bag pouch for your knickknacks. The seatback entertainment system was a little bit dated, the screen was a little bit small, and the touchscreen wasn't very responsive to my touch. There was a good range of movies and TV shows, as well as some quite recent releases. There were some basic controls for the entertainment system at the bottom of the screen, as well as in the armrest. The headphone jack was at the end of the armrest, and there was a USB port in the seat back. And in the overhead panel there was a reading light, air vent, and the call button. So a 10-year-old plane that wasn't awful, but wasn't awesome. It was well maintained, but just on the edge of dated. I'm going to give this plane a 7. I'm going to give this plane a 7 out of 10.
There are COVID testing and quarantine rules in Victoria that impact all passenger arrivals. If you are vaccinated or have a vaccine exemption and this has been certified by the Commonwealth, you are not required to enter state-run quarantine. You must get either a rapid antigen test or PCR test within 24 hours of your arrival and quarantine until you receive a negative result. If you are unvaccinated or are unable to provide acceptable evidence of your vaccination status, you will be directed to the Victorian Quarantine Hub at Auckland for 7 days. You must follow the direction of government officials in the arrivals hall. Thank you for your cooperation.
Australia has strict biosecurity laws that apply to you. You must declare any shoes or equipment with soil on them, or that have been used in rivers or lakes, or if you have been to a farm or in contact with farm animals in the past 30 days. If you don't declare truthfully, it may result in a penalty. Your visa may be cancelled and you may be refused entry into Australia. Make your arrival into Australia as easy as possible. Just declare it.
We trekked west over the Tasman and crossed the coast of Victoria somewhere near Sea Spray. We veered right a couple of times and then 2 left turns to come into Melbourne from the east.
About to prepare for landing, so please return to your allocated seat. It's now time to put all laptop computers and other large personal electronic devices away, and make sure your bags are stowed in the overhead lockers or under the seat in front of you. Please place your seat, footrest, entertainment screen and tray table back to the original position. Make sure your window shaders up and your seatbelt fastened. Please remove all USBs and cables from the seatback attachment for landing.
We landed on runway 27 and exited via taxiway Mike, then via taxiways Echo Sierra Tango, and we parked on gate 5 of the international terminal.
The seatbelt sign has been switched on for our landing. All passengers and crew must now be seated with the seatbelt firmly fastened. Welcome to Melbourne, where the local time is approximately 7:59 AM. Qantas would like to acknowledge you, the traditional custodians of this land. We would also like to pay our respects to elders, past, present and emerging. As the seatbelt sign is still on, please remain seated with the seatbelt fastened. Smoking and the use of e-cigarettes is not permitted while disembarking or throughout the terminal. Just a reminder, carry-on baggage may have moved in the overhead lockers and could fall out, so please take care. Don't forget to check your seat and seat pocket for any personal items. You must continue to wear a face mask as you exit the aircraft and in the terminal building. Please take all leftover masks or wipes with you and dispose in the general waste bins. Once the seatbelt sign is off, where possible, please maintain an appropriate distance between yourself and other customers as you disembark. If you can reach your mobile phone, you can turn off flight mode now. Finally, on behalf of all of us here at Qantas and One World, thank you for choosing to fly with us. If you're visiting Melbourne, we hope you enjoy your stay. And of course, for those returning, welcome home.
Ladies and gentlemen, just a short delay for us here as we wait for our bay to become free. At this stage we're still 10 minutes ahead of our schedule. If there's any significant delay, I will get back to you, but we are expecting to be moving on to the bay shortly. Appreciate your patience, thank you.
We landed at 7:57 AM, taxied for 7 minutes and arrived at the gate at 8:04, 11 minutes ahead of schedule.
Cabin crew, disarm doors across you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thanks.
Yet another slightly awkward disembarkation. After a quick peek back at the nose of my plane, it was off on the longest air bridge in history up into the main terminal. There's a number of e-passport kiosks strategically placed along the walkway where you can scan your passport and answer a few questions that I answered on my digital declaration, on my paper declaration in the plane, and here for the third time in the kiosk. Then I get given a wee ticket and it's off through duty free, which is open. There must be something I need. I avoid temptation and head straight down to passport control. The e-gates make the process very quick and efficient, and in no time at all, I'm at baggage claim.
Recently arrived on Qantas flight QF152 from Auckland. Your baggage will be available on carousel number 5. For those passengers who expect oversized baggage such as strollers, boarding equipment, lunchboxes and musical instruments, these will be available for your collection from the oversized cell located behind carousel number 2.
My bag was already on the belt when I got there. I lined up for customs and the customs officer hardly glanced at me and sent me through the green lane. And so I walked straight out into Australia. Here I am in Melbourne. Wow, that was relatively painless. I'll sum up as I walk over to where the Ubers live.
So I just charge down there and show that to the next one? Charge. Right in there. Get in there. Thank you.
There was a very ordinary breakfast, but a solid selection of cold beverages and a somewhat average coffee. The whole breakfast combo got a 6 out of 10. And a 10-year-old 737-800 got a 7 out of 10. That's an average of 6.5. Nice one, Qantas.
Do I go down that way or go the white one? Black one. G'day. So I just show you the thing, do I? And then... Oh yeah. I'll take this in with me. Yeah, thanks.
Please like this video, subscribe to our channel, and then watch every single video we've ever made. And every one we will make. Thanks.